Have you ever felt like you are 100 different people living in one body? You start a project with fire in your eyes, only to find a new spark a week later that makes the old one feel cold. You look at your bookshelf, your browser tabs, and your unfinished sketches, and you feel like a graveyard of abandoned dreams. You have been told all your life that you must choose one path. You have been told that being a jack of all trades means you will be a master of none. But what if that is not true? What if your curiosity is not a distraction, but your greatest strength? This video is not a loud push to work harder or to force yourself into a box. It is about understanding the beautiful, often painful complexity of having a mind that wants to touch everything. I encourage you to stay until the end, not to find a quick fix, but to finally feel understood. There is a specific kind of loneliness that comes with having too many interests. It is the feeling of being a perpetual beginner. You watch your friends move deep into their careers, becoming specialists, becoming known for one thing, while you are still standing at the crossroads, looking at every map at once. You feel scattered. You feel thin, like butter spread over too much bread. There is a silent pressure that follows you every morning, a voice that asks, "Why can't you just finish something?" You carry the weight of comparison. You see someone who has played the piano for 20 years, and you feel a sharp pang of regret for the guitar you bought last year and haven't touched in months. It is a quiet, heavy doubt that whispers that you are flaky, that you lack discipline, or that you are simply lost. You aren't lost. You are just exploring a world that wants you to stay still. We live in a world designed for the specialist. Since we were children, we were asked, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" Notice the word, what, singular, not who or how many things. This expectation is a relic of an old way of thinking, a system that needs us to be efficient parts of a machine. Your upbringing may have reinforced this. Perhaps you were praised when you stuck to one hobby and questioned when you moved to the next. But your brain works differently. It sees connections where others see walls. You don't just see a tree, you see the biology, the art of its shape, the history of the soil, and the physics of the wind. This pattern formed because your mind craves synthesis. You are not failing to focus, you are failing to conform to a narrow definition of success that was never meant for a mind like yours. When you try to force yourself to be just one thing, something inside you begins to dim. There is an emotional cost to suppressing your curiosity. It manifests as a quiet sadness, a numbness that sets in when you deny your need to learn. You begin to lose trust in yourself. Each new interest feels like a betrayal of the last one. You stop telling people about your new projects because you are tired of their judgmental smiles, the ones that say, "Here we go again." This leads to a deep exhaustion. You are tired of starting over, but you are even more tired of staying the same. You feel like you are wandering in a hall of mirrors, never sure which reflection is the real you. You wonder if you will ever leave a mark on the world if you keep changing the pen you use to write. Clarity does not come from choosing one interest and killing the rest. It comes from realizing that you are the common thread. The shift begins when you stop looking at your interests as separate boxes and start seeing them as a single, rich tapestry. Responsibility is not about picking one lane. It is about being responsible for the gift of your curiosity. You do not need to blame yourself for being distracted. When you understand that your variety is your identity, the shame begins to dissolve. You start to see that the master of none myth is a lie. The original saying was, A jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. You were only told the first half. Your perspective changes when you realize that your ability to learn quickly and connect different worlds is a rare and precious skill. Moving forward does not mean you have to stop being curious. It means you move with more intention. Instead of trying to do everything at once, learn the art of seasons. Give yourself permission to be a photographer this winter and a programmer in the spring. Work in silence. You do not need the world's permission to start something new, and you do not need their pity when you decide a project has served its purpose and you are ready to let it go. True consistency is not about doing the same task forever. It is about the consistent pursuit of growth. Let your identity be the learner rather than the specialist. Change is not a sign of weakness. It is the natural rhythm of your soul. Patience is not about waiting for one interest to last forever. It is about trusting that all these pieces of you will eventually fit together in a way only you can understand. Take a deep breath and look at the path behind you. All those unfinished things, they taught you something. The language you studied for a month gave you a new way to see words. The sport you tried for a season gave you a new way to move. None of it was wasted. You are a bridge builder. You connect ideas that specialists cannot see because they are too deep in their own holes. Your growth is not a straight line. It is an expanding circle. Reframe your struggle. You are not behind in life. You are simply living a wider life. There is a quiet confidence in knowing that you can survive in many different worlds. You are not a master of nothing. You are a master of transition, a master of curiosity, and a master of your own unique light. We are raised on the myth of the one true calling. We are taught that somewhere out there, like a soulmate, there is a single career or a single passion waiting for us. And if we haven't found it, we are somehow broken. This idea is a cage. It suggests that your life is a destination rather than a journey. But for someone like you, your calling isn't a single job. It is the act of learning itself. Your purpose is the curiosity you feel when you wake up, not the title on your business card. When you stop looking for the one thing, you finally give yourself permission to enjoy everything. It is okay to admit that your mind feels loud. Sometimes the sheer volume of your interests feels like a crowd of people all screaming for your attention at once. You want to learn French, you want to code, you want to paint, and you want to understand the stars, all by Tuesday. This overwhelm is not a lack of focus, it is an abundance of life. To find peace, you must learn to rotate your focus rather than dilute it. You do not have to abandon your passions, you just have to give them a turn. Imagine your mind as a stage. Only one interest can perform at a time, while the others wait in the wings. They aren't gone, they are just waiting for their cue. The world sees your interests as scattered dots, but because you have traveled between so many different worlds, you have the unique ability to connect them. This is called synthesis. When you bring the rhythm of music into your writing, or the logic of mathematics into your art, you create something that a specialist never could. You are a translator. You speak the language of many different fields, and that allows you to build bridges where others see chasms. Your value does not come from how deep you go into one hole, but from how many different peaks you can see from. You are not a jack of all trades, you are an architect of ideas. There is a profound power in working in silence. Because you have many interests, people will often try to fix you by giving you unsolicited advice. They will tell you to pick a lane or focus on what pays. You must learn to protect your budding interests from the cold wind of other people's skepticism. You do not owe anyone an explanation for why you are learning something new. Let your progress be your only proof. When you work in silence, you are not performing for an audience. You are soul-searching for yourself. Silence allows your curiosity to grow deep roots before the world tries to pull it up by the weeds. We need to talk about the guilt of quitting. You have been told that winners never quit. But for a person with a wide mind, quitting is often just finishing. Sometimes you enter a new hobby just to understand the how and the why. Once your curiosity is satisfied, the project is done. You didn't fail to finish the book, you simply got what you needed from it and moved on. This is not flakiness, it is efficiency. You are harvesting the essence of things. Validate the time you spent. It served its purpose. It changed you. You are allowed to let go of the things that no longer feed your fire. In an age of artificial intelligence and rapid change, your adaptability is your greatest asset. The specialist is safe as long as their field exists. But the generalist, the person with too many interests, is safe because they know how to pivot. You have spent your life practicing how to be a beginner. You are not afraid of the I don't know phase. This makes you resilient. While others panic when the world changes, you simply look at it as a new subject to master. Your random skills are actually a toolkit for a future that hasn't been written yet. You are not behind, you are prepared for anything. It takes time for a person like you to see the shape of their own life. A specialist's life looks like a skyscraper. Tall, narrow, and easy to see from a distance. Your life looks like a forest, vast, complex, and beautiful only when you walk through it. Do not be discouraged if you cannot explain who you are in a single sentence. You are a process, not a product. Your identity is being built slowly, layer by layer, interest by interest. Trust the architecture of your soul. One day, you will look back and see that the random things you did in your 20s were the foundation for the masterpiece of your 50s. Inner peace begins the moment you stop apologizing for your nature. You do not need to be cured of your curiosity. You do not need to be more disciplined in the way society demands. You only need to be honest with yourself. Acceptance means looking at your unfinished projects and seeing them with love instead of shame. They are monuments to your bravery, to the fact that you were willing to try. Rest in the knowledge that you are exactly who you are supposed to be. You are a wide-spectrum human being in a black and white world. Wear your complexity like a crown. Everything you have ever been interested in is a part of you now. The coding, the cooking, the philosophy, the fitness. It has all been woven into your DNA. You are a richer person because of your detours. As you move forward, do not rush. You have a long life ahead of you, and there is plenty of room for all your versions. Reframe your struggle as an adventure. You aren't feeling behind because you are in a different race entirely. You are running the race of the polymath, the explorer, the seeker. End each day with the quiet confidence that your variety is your victory. Because your mind is a hunger that is never satisfied, you often forget that even fire needs air to keep burning. You move from one deep dive to the next without catching your breath, thinking that any moment not spent learning is a moment wasted. But your brain needs the fallow season. Just as a field must rest to grow more wheat, your mind needs periods of silence to process the vast amounts of data you have collected. Rest is not the absence of productivity. It is the foundation of it. When you stop consuming, your mind begins to synthesize. Give yourself permission to do nothing. Let the ideas settle. You will find that clarity often arrives not when you are chasing it, but when you finally sit still. If you look closely at your seemingly random interests, you will find a golden thread that connects them all. You might love gardening, coding, and ancient history. At first, they look like strangers. But perhaps the thread is systems, the way things grow, the way logic flows, the way empires rise. When you find your thread, the chaos disappears. You realize you haven't been jumping from thing to thing. You have been exploring the same core truth from different angles. This realization is healing. It turns your distractions into a unified research project called your life. You are not a disorganized person. You are a researcher of the human experience. There is a fear that by doing many things, you will never be great at anything. This is the fear of mediocrity. But we must ask, whose definition of greatness are you using? If greatness is defined as being the top 1% in a single, narrow niche, then yes, that path is difficult for a generalist. But there is a different kind of greatness, the greatness of the polymath. This is the ability to be in the top 10% of 4 different fields. When you combine those 4 skills, you become the only person in the world who occupies that specific intersection. You are not average. You are a category of 1. Mastery is not just about depth. It is about the unique way you weave your depths together. Most people spend their lives trying to avoid the feeling of being a beginner. They want the safety of knowing. But you have fallen in love with the not knowing. There is a specific kind of magic in the first page of a new notebook, the first lesson of a new language, the first time you hold a tool you don't understand. This is called the beginner's mind, and it is one of the highest states of human consciousness. It is a state of total openness, free from ego and the burden of expectation. While the world grows rigid in its expertise, you stay young because you are always learning. Your curiosity is a fountain of youth that keeps your spirit flexible and alive. In a world of infinite information, your curiosity can become your own worst enemy. You can spend 10 hours in a rabbit hole and emerge feeling drained rather than inspired. To thrive, you must learn to curate your intake. You cannot follow every trail. Silence the notifications. Close the extra tabs. Moving forward means choosing which fires to feed and which to let die out. It is better to deeply explore 3 interests this year than to graze on 1,000 for 5 minutes each. Intentionality is the rudder that keeps your ship of curiosity from spinning in circles. You have the power to choose your focus. You may feel like your normal job is a prison that keeps you from your true passions. You feel like a hypocrite for sitting in an office when you want to be a poet or a scientist. Shift your perspective. See your work not as a cage, but as a patron. Throughout history, some of the greatest thinkers had mundane jobs that funded their true explorations. Einstein worked in a patent office. Kafka worked in insurance. Your job provides the stability that allows your curiosity to play without the pressure of having to pay the rent. It is the soil that supports the flowers. When you stop hating your bread-winning work, you free up the emotional energy you need to create. The most successful people of the future will not be those who do one thing well, but those who build a personal monopoly. This is the combination of your unique skills, interests, and personality traits that no one else can replicate. Think of your interests as ingredients. Anyone can cook an egg, but only you can create the specific recipe of your life. When you stop trying to compete with specialists on their own turf, you start playing a game that only you can win. Your too many interests are the raw materials for a career and a life that is entirely yours. You are not looking for a job, you are building a world. What will you leave behind? The world tells you that a legacy is a single monument, but the legacy of a person like you is a ripple effect. It is the way you inspired a child to be curious. It is the way you solved a problem at work using an idea from a hobby. It is the richness of the conversations you had because you knew a little bit about everything. Your legacy is not a single point. It is a web of connections. You are teaching the world that it is possible to stay curious, to keep growing, and to never stop asking why. Your life is a testament to the fact that a human being is meant to be vast, not small. It is time to forgive the version of you that bought the easel and never painted. Forgive the version of you that signed up for the marathon and quit at mile 5. Forgive the version of you that felt like a failure because you couldn't just pick one thing. Those past selves were not failing. They were experimenting. They were the scouts you sent out to explore the terrain of your soul. They did their job. They told you what you liked and what you didn't. You cannot build the present if you are still carrying the shame of the past. Put down the guilt. Every failed interest was a stepping stone that brought you to the person you are today. We have traveled deep into the psychology of your wide and beautiful mind. You are standing at the edge of a new understanding. You are not scattered, you are expansive. You are not behind, you are diverse. As you look toward the horizon, do not ask, "What should I be?" Ask, "What am I curious about today?" Let that be your only compass. Trust that the dots will connect in the future, even if they look like a mess right now. You are a masterpiece in progress, a collection of stories that are still being written. Walk forward with your head high. The world is big, and you were born with a mind big enough to match it. Your curiosity is not a flaw to be fixed. It is a gift to be celebrated. Be silent in your pursuit, be deep in your love, and be wide in your vision. You are everything you were meant to be. If this script felt like a conversation with an old friend, subscribe. Stay for the understanding. Stay for the journey.